Legend has it, Wes Anderson went to a movie theater in 1993 to see Steven Soderbergh's new film, King of the Hill. And he turned to the person he was with, who in my head is Owen Wilson, and he said, "That guy is going to be a star." And that guy was Adrien Brody. So I guess that kind of put things in motion. From what I understand, when Wes Anderson was writing The Darjeeling Limited with Roman Coppola and Jason Schwartzman, they came up with the character of Peter Whitman with Adrien Brody in mind. So when you watch that film, you can believe that because he is so perfectly suited for that role. It allowed Adrien to show a lighter side of himself. It allowed him to show some of his dramatic acting prowess. There's kind of an underlying sadness in Peter where he's trying to be cool with his brothers, but there's still a lot of pain there from the loss of their father. And there's his struggling with his impending fatherhood himself. And there's a lot of layers to Peter, and I think Adrien was perfect for that role. So the rumor that it was written with him in mind does make a lot of sense. So I found an article that Adrien wrote for the Academy Awards website about the films that changed his career. And one of them was The Darjeeling Limited because it started his friendship and working relationship with Wes Anderson. And he says of their working together, "When you do certain films and roles and become known for them, I think it's harder for people to give you opportunities to find more levity. So I feel like that has been a big blessing." And I would definitely agree with that. I think that Wes and Adrien have a very mutually beneficial relationship. If you'd like to read the rest of that article that Adrien wrote, I will put the link in the description. So, a couple years after The Darjeeling Limited, Adrien had a small cameo in Wes Anderson's stop motion animation Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was based on the Roald Dahl book of the same name. I'm always amused by Adrien's voice coming out of a mouse. It's very cute because Adrien has that a deeper kind of voice, and a kind of a serious tone to his voice. And so it's quite funny to hear it coming out of a little mouse with a tape measure around his neck. It's very charming when the mouse offers his services to help Mr. Fox go fight, with all these other larger, more fierce animals. Fantastic Mr. Fox has kind of become a go-to film for me, and it's really light. And for a Wes Anderson film, it's very clean. There's actually a scene where they say the word cuss instead of cussing, which is quite funny. Next up, we have possibly the most well-known Brody Anderson collaboration, which is The Grand Budapest Hotel. It came out in 2014, and Adrien plays Dimitri Degaulle in Taxis, who is kind of the main villain of the story. So Dimitri's main motivation in life is money, specifically his mother's money. And he's basically trying to remove any roadblocks that stand between him and that goal. And without getting too spoilery for you there, I will just sum it up that way. Dimitri is a fun character. He reminds me of those old silent movie villains, who literally twirl their mustaches, and tie the damsel in distress to the train tracks. He's that kind of villain. And it's just really fun to see him in a role like that. And it seems like he had a lot of fun making it too. Now, the next time that Adrien and Wes worked together was on a short film called Come Together, a Fashion Picture in Motion. It came out in 2016 and was technically an ad for a new H&M clothing collection. While it is technically a commercial, it is a Wes Anderson Christmas film. And Adrien plays a train conductor named Ralph who's trying to get his passengers home in time for Christmas, but he has to let them know that they are delayed and they won't get there in time. So he makes an announcement about them having a little Christmas party there on the train. So you see the passengers on the train kind of filing in for this party, and they're all wearing the clothes that are part of the H&M collection. And so it's very subtle as a commercial, and I like that. It can be appreciated as a Wes Anderson short film, and you can kind of see past the commercial part. It's kind of become a tradition for me to watch it every December. You can find it here on YouTube. I'll also put a link in the description. So the next collaboration came out in 2021. It was called The French Dispatch of the Liberty, Kansas Evening Sun, which kind of quickly got shortened to just being called The French Dispatch. But if you look at the film's posters and the DVD case and things like that, the full title is on there. Adrien plays the role of Julian Cadazio in the segment called The Concrete Masterpiece. Julian is an art dealer who runs a gallery with his uncles, played by Bob Balaban and Henry Winkler, respectively. So Julian Cadazio is placed in prison for some tax issues, and he meets a very talented, very troubled artist there named Moses Rosenthaler, who is played by Benicio del Toro. And he and Adrien have wonderful chemistry together. I hope they get to do more work together because it's very fun. This is possibly Adrien's funniest performance. There's moments that are downright slapsticky, and it's wonderful. And next we come to Asteroid City, which is, as of this filming, the most recent collaboration. It came out in 2023. Adrien played a character named Schubert Green, who is a stage play director, and he's putting on a production of Asteroid City. And so we see it played out in kind of in layers. The play, and then there's a documentary being made about the play, and then there's the play playing out as though it's real life. And so there's a lot of layers. There's characters and actors, and it's kind of a back and forth. There are actually some great video essays here on YouTube where people break down the story and explain all the different layers. And so I'll put a link to one of those in the description so you can have it explained to you if you need it like I did. Adrien's character, Schubert Green, is kind of dealing with a lot of personal turmoil. He's actually living at the theater where they're holding the production of Asteroid City. So we see that he's kind of projecting his own emotions onto the actors when he's giving them their directions. But otherwise, it seems like he's a very dedicated director and good at his job. So we don't get a lot of time with him, but what we do get is, pretty good because it's Adrien. Adrien is one of those actors who tells a lot with just their expressions. Adrien does a lot more with characters than what's written on the page. And that is very helpful for someone like Wes Anderson. A lot of people say he's style over substance, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's that the aesthetics of the film are part of the story. And having Adrien along for the ride, I think, helps a lot with that. Because, as I said, he expresses a lot without words. He's thought of as, this serious guy and this dramatic actor. And I've noticed that a lot of the actors that Wes Anderson works with are people that are thought of that way. And I think that's really cool because, he's subverting expectations that fans of those actors have. And it's allowing all of those actors who get somebody like Harvey Keitel or Willem Dafoe, they get locked into these certain roles. They get typecast as, the bad guy or, the scary guy. And then Wes Anderson puts them in a film and they become downright lovable. He sees potential in these actors and he knows exactly how to bring these things out of them. Wes Anderson has been a really big shift in Adrien's career and in his life. So that's all of them for now. I am hoping they work together enough times that I will need to do a part 2 someday. Let me know what your favorite Wes and Adrien collaboration is down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And give this video a like if you would, it really helps me out. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.